Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm pleased to hear it's not actually through CRA, because my next question was about the CRA call wait times, which I'm sure you've heard about till we're blue in the face. But I did want to address those with you. We're hearing from across the country, many people are having issues. Normal years, tax season, people wait a couple hours sometimes on the phone. That's not necessarily abnormal, but it seems to be incredibly high even compared to normal tax season, where I'm hearing from folks, and I know this is MPs across the country, I'm sure everyone on this committee actually has probably had constituents complain about this issue, where they're waiting 3-4 hours and then they get an operator sort of saying, too busy, call back later, click, hang up, and then they have to start again. And now my concern is that these are folks that were promised money or supports from the federal government. The Liberal government has announced these things, but the problem is that thousands of people can't even get through to access them through CRA, and there's a whole host of technical things, as we know, that can go wrong of why people need to call CRA to get those benefits. But so it's easy to announce these things, but yet they're getting sort of roadblocked, some for weeks trying to get through. And I know you're aware of this issue, so can you explain to the committee the measures you're taking to sort of reduce these call wait times to a more, I would say, humane level?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly it is of great concern for us. Just to give you context that the call demand is just unprecedented. Typical week we might receive, same time last year, 350,000 calls. This time we're receiving over 1 million calls. So the demand is just very large. We have ramped up our hiring. We're in the process of hiring over an additional 2,000 people. And so that gives us 1,500 more people than it did this time last year for the tax season. And we've got a couple of other processes in place that allows us that will get those wait times down. Let me also just say one tiny thing. It is absolutely true that there are some people that are waiting a very long time. The average wait time tends to be around 25 minutes, but of course it's the outliers. It's often when people need to speak to what we call a tier 2 or tier 3 agent, a specialist, that they have to wait this long. So it's very unfortunate.
I'm just going to ask a closing question. You mentioned that you're hiring 2,000 people. When did CRA start hiring these people?
That hiring would have started probably in November, I would say. It's hiring and training.
The only reason that I ask, and I find that a bit concerning that it didn't start till November. We've been in this pandemic, and this isn't on you, but we've been in this pandemic for almost a year now, and I'm just surprised that it took till November to start hiring 2,000 people. You would have thought, I would have thought that, last March when all of this was happening and you guys were administering CERB, and that you would have hired just droves and droves of people in anticipation of this. We'll have to address that in Parliament, but I'm a bit disappointed to hear that hiring did not start until late fall, only a few months ago. So maybe that would explain why we're still experiencing considerable call volume times.
So here's the interesting thing. In fact, call wait times were very low in August and September and October. So things were manageable. There was a plan always to hire more people, and we always hire more people in the tax season, and there was a plan to hire more people than ever. What we saw as the second wave came, I think it's the second wave or perhaps the third wave, depending on how you count it, that call volumes and call handle time just went up really unexpectedly. And I'll point you to the call handle time, that it went up by 40%. A lot to do with theft, with identity theft, with the increased sophistication of cyber attacks. And that's really what has led to an unexpected demand, both in the number of calls and in the duration of those calls.
Thank you, Mr. Vermonten, and thank you, Ms. Doncho. Next, Mr. Vaughn, please, for 5 minutes.